Hi everybody, welcome back to Quarantine Cooking with Carolyn. Today I am going to show you how to make fish and chips in your oven. Now this is a little bit different from the beer battered deep fried fish and chips that you're probably used to, but this one is also a little bit lower in fat and calories, but it's still really delicious. And this is also a really great recipe for when you forget to take something out of the freezer for dinner. I have done that many times myself. I've gotten to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and said, uh-oh, what am I gonna do? This fish thaws really quickly. So you put it in the refrigerator or in the sink for maybe an hour or so, and it usually thaws pretty quickly. So it's one of those meals to keep in the back of your head for when you do that, because I do it all the time. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to get started first of all with the chips portion of the fish and chips recipe. So I am going to you're going to start with 2 large baking potatoes. Now I'm only going to do one because, as I've stated many times, there's just 2 of us here, and that would be more potatoes than we would need. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting this potato into 8ths, 4 and 4 here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on this baking sheet. Now I've already sprayed this with a little bit of cooking spray. And I'm just going to put these on here, and then I'm going to spray them with a little olive oil cooking spray. And if you don't like to do that, if you don't like to spray directly onto your food, and I get that, what you could do is put the potatoes in a bowl with maybe, if you're only doing 1 potato, I'd do maybe 2 teaspoons or so of olive oil. You don't really need that much. And then I'm going to season these with a little bit of salt and pepper. And this, I'm not even measuring this, guys. I mean, it just isn't rocket science, right? You know? And then a little bit of paprika. And again, I'm not measuring. Okay? Just like that. Then these are going to go in a 475 degree oven for 15 minutes. Then we're going to pull them out and we're going to flip them over and cook them a little bit more. So let's go ahead and put these in the oven. And I like to set my kitchen timer. So I'm going to do that because when I don't, I forget about things. And now we'll move on to the fish portion. So I'm just going to grab this piece of wax paper here, which you probably can't see on the camera too well. And I've got 1 scrambled egg here, and I've added to that just a splash of water, like maybe a tablespoon, just to thin it out a touch. To that, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of whole grain mustard. And again, just as I've said many times, you don't have whole grain mustard, use whatever you've got in your refrigerator. If you've got yellow or spicy brown, whatever you got is fine. It's just fine. Okay, and we're just going to mix that up. This one's a little thicker, and that's going to give the fish a nice flavor. All right, just like that. So now the next step in my little mini food processor here, I am going to add 2 tablespoons of sliced almonds. And I'm going to just give those a quick whiz around and then I'm going to add 1/4 cup of each panko breadcrumbs and cornmeal. And I'm getting kind of low actually on cornmeal. So I've already added that to my shopping list. And I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to give it another couple of pulses, just like that. Okay, then off it comes. There we go. And this is going to go down on the wax paper here. Okay, now next trick. For my next trick, we are going to salt and pepper the fish. Now I am using a tilapia fish, and this is the way it comes. I'm going to show you this in just a second here. Let me just salt and pepper this. And I like to do both sides. There we go. Okay, and the tilapia comes like this, one piece of fish. And tilapia is a very mild fish. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right down that spine, I guess that's what that is there, with some food safe scissors or with a knife. Okay, then we get into the breading process. And for that, I'm going to put on gloves. You don't need to, but I like to. Just it seems somehow cleaner. And remember, I talked about in past videos, I've talked about the wet hand, dry hand thing when you are breading anything. So one hand goes in the wet mixture, like that. You drip, kind of shake it off a little bit, and then this hand does the dry mixture. And that keeps your hands from getting too clumpy, because eventually what happens is your hands get all sort of clumpy. Now I'm only doing 2 pieces of fish essentially, so it probably wouldn't be much of a problem for me. See, now you see I did it wrong that time, but that's okay. That's what, you know, and it does take practice. It does take some practice getting used to that technique. But anyway, so here we go. There we go. See, now I got it. And then I'm just going to set this fish aside for a few minutes until the potatoes are at their first 15 minutes. So it's been about 15 minutes and our potatoes are ready to turn. So I'm going to pull these out. Whew. And I'm just going to give these a turn. And you can see they're turning a nice brown. You see that? So I'm just going to give those a turn. Now, something I forgot to mention earlier, and that is another benefit of this recipe, is that you don't have to have a deep fryer to have fish and chips at home, right? So that's another benefit of that. Plus, even if you do have one, they can be messy. They can very simply be messy. So to this pan, I'm going to add our fish. Now the fish needs 6 to 8 minutes of cooking until it is firm to the touch. Okay, and sort of opaque. All right, so this is going to go back in. And like I said, the fish only needs 6 to 8 minutes. At about the 6-minute mark, I will usually go in and turn the fish. You don't have to, but I like to. It's been 8 minutes, and at the 6-minute mark, I flipped the fish over, and I'm just going to turn the oven off, and I'm going to bring this over here so you guys can see how that looks, and I'm just going to plate it up for you so you can see it. Beautiful. Look at that. Look at how beautiful those fries are, those chips are. Of course, chips being the British equivalent or the English equivalent of our French fries or steak fries. So there you go, and it looks just beautiful. And of course, you are going to serve this traditionally with malt vinegar, and you eat this on the fish and the chips both traditionally. So we are going to go and eat our dinner. Give this a try tonight, guys. You've got this.